Hey guys, Matt here. This is my review of The Expendables 4. This movie is directed by Scott Waugh, who previously directed Act of Valor, Need for Speed, and most recently Hidden Strike. This movie stars Jason Statham, Megan Fox, Randy Couture, Andy Garcia, and Sylvester Stallone. The plot of this movie is the Expendables must stop a terrorist from getting nuclear weapons. I know, it sounds very basic and safe, but that's the movie we got. So going into this film, I wasn't really excited, but I was intrigued because it had been 9 years since the third movie, and they were adding some new actors and some new faces to the team. So my thought was, okay, these new faces could actually flesh out the team and give us something that we didn't get in Expendables 3. Give us a team that's, shows a brotherhood, a bond. They could be the next action stars. They could be, these unique personalities that would make this team a badass team again. And, well, with the absence of some characters, some other characters stepping up to take the lead, and some pretty silly action, did I enjoy this movie? Not really. Here's why. Now, I'll start with the acting in this movie. The acting in these films, the Expendables franchise, has never been their strong suit. I would say aside from the first movie, the other films more or less relied on doing things to fit the actors playing certain roles. For instance, you had Ronda Rousey in the third movie, so she had that character do mixed martial arts stuff. In the second movie, you had Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis, Chuck Norris. They all had their shtick. Arnold Schwarzenegger would say, "I'll be back." Bruce Willis would kind of, mumble his lines and say them very deadpan. And Chuck Norris, even made his own Chuck Norris jokes. Well, in this fourth one, you had the addition of, 50 Cent and Megan Fox and Andy Garcia and Randy Couture. And though it's nice to see the old characters mixing with the new characters, really, the only notable dialogue, if you could even call it that, are from the OG Expendables. They're from Jason Statham, Sylvester Stallone, Randy Couture, Dolph Lundgren. The newcomers don't add anything. You have Andy Garcia in this role as I guess he's supposed to be like the Mr. Church character, like the Bruce Willis character, or later the Harrison Ford character, but he's really just phoning it in. This character could have been played by any actor. You had Megan Fox in this movie, who becomes the team lead. I know. But all she does is just look pretty. She's hot. That's the only thing she brings to this movie. You have Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent, as a member of the team, but he really just says 50 Cent stuff. There's even a scene where they play 50 Cent music in this film. Randy Couture, it's nice to see him in person. I met him. Super nice guy. And I've always liked that character in these movies. But here, the only dialogue he's given is talking about his privates and his cauliflower ear. There's even a scene where a certain character gets injured. Fatally almost. But there's no blood. They don't show the injury. A character gets stabbed in his rib/kidney area. Yet, it's a fairly serious injury, but they don't really act like it. And this movie was bringing back the R rating, which was supposed to make this movie even more badass. But it doesn't. The violence isn't even that great. Yeah, there's some F words thrown around, but the dialogue in this movie is the kind of dialogue that only movie characters say. Real people don't say stuff like this. Where they're like, "Hey, what happened to Barney?" "Oh, well, Barney was looking for this guy named Ocelot. Tracking him down for 25 years. Ocelot killed his entire team. No man should ever have to go through that." That's the kind of dialogue we get in this movie. And the CGI is ridiculous. Yes, the first movie had some CGI blood and violence, but it was because a lot of the scenes were dark at nighttime. This has so much CGI blood and violence and just backgrounds and everything that it's not believable. It's silly. It's like the characters or the actors are supposed to appear on a green screen, sit inside a car or a Jeep or some sort of truck, act like they're chasing something, running from something, shooting huge guns, and reacting to things. And it's laughable. Also, you have, I'll just say, one of the main characters not in the film for a whole lot. And that hurts the story. You have these actors that you know as the main characters, our core group of Expendables. But without a certain character, they just feel like a group of people thrown together. There's no unity, there's no brotherhood, there's no bond there. And there's no drama. The dialogue in this movie is silly. Even the lines between Jason Statham and Sylvester Stallone, they're just a little too jokey. Yeah, I get you guys are friends and you've known each other a long time and there's history there, but it's like they're insulting each other, they're too jokey, and the bond is nice, but when it's just them kind of picking on each other, it gets a little old. The bad guy in this movie, I forget the actor's name, but he's from the movie Raid Redemption. Good martial artist. He's okay. He's unique because he has, police batons that are sharp at all the ends of them, but other than that, there's nothing to him. Tony Jaa makes an appearance in this movie. He's really cool to see. I like his character, but there's no depth to any of the Expendables here this time. Mel Gibson in the third movie. That speech he gives about the Expendables, how him and Barney Ross were brothers, and they knew each other, they had history, that was believable. Here, it's like this movie was made almost as a joke. Dolph Lundgren's back, but he really just plays the older sniper, so there's jokes there. And then you have a new character that plays, I think his name's Galgo. He's the son of the Antonio Banderas character from the third one. He sounds just like him. He talks a whole lot, but he really brings nothing to the team. And this movie also has some very silly practicality issues. Now, I know that's saying a lot, but there's a scene where a sniper goes on foot to do some shooting, kill some people. But yet characters that are flying airplanes or driving in jeeps or people that are in areas that are totally in a different spot of this village, town, area that they're, trying to sneak into. They're able to see what the sniper's doing. They're able to know what's going on at all times. That's a little silly. And that's a trope this movie does, where all of the characters, whether they're good or bad, they know what's going on at all times, everywhere. And their timing on things couldn't be better. So, because the Expendables at this point just seem to be getting worse, I now like these movies in the order they were released. If you haven't seen the director's cut of the first movie, that's probably my favorite and best version of any of these movies. So, check it out. So, because the Expendables had the music, it had, some sets, it had some characters, it had some semblance of the original movie that some of us fell in love with, about, 13 years ago now? It's been a long time. But this is just a shell of its former self. It's no longer these badass veterans, but it's now they're just old men playing dress up, shooting pretend guns, and, having corny dialogue. I really wanted to like this movie. I was hoping for something better, and this should have just been straight to DVD at this point, and that's really sad to say. So, because Expendables 4 had all the elements that they could have made better, but they just didn't use them to the best of their ability, I'm going to give the Expendables 4 a D. Jason Statham carried this movie, but, you could have just made this any old action movie with a couple cameos, like the stuff that Danny Trejo and Bruce Willis are doing on the side these days. So, till next time, guys. See ya.